Munich, a German court on Wednesday found the main defendant in a high-profile neo-Nazi trial guilty over the killing of 10 people, most of them migrants, who were gunned down between 2000 and 2007 in a case that shocked Germany and prompted accusations of institutional racism in the country's security agencies. Judges sentenced Beate Z-Shape to life in prison for murder, membership of a terrorist organization, bomb attacks that injured dozens and several lesser crimes including a string of robberies. 4 men were found guilty of supporting the group in various ways and sentenced to prison terms of between 2.5 and 10 years. Defendant Beate Z-Shape arrives in a courtroom before the proclamation of sentence in her trial as the only surviving member of neo-Nazi cell National Socialist Underground (NSU), behind a string of racist murders, in Munich on Wednesday. Z-Shape, 43, was found guilty of complicity in 10 deadly shootings of mostly Turkish immigrants carried out by clandestine trio the National Socialist Underground (NSU), Michaela Rehle, AFP, Getty Images. Presiding Judge Manfred Götzl told the packed Munich courtroom that Z-Shape's guilt weighed particularly heavily, meaning she is likely to serve at least a 15-year sentence. Her lawyers plan to appeal the verdict. The 43-year-old showed no emotion as Götzl read out her sentence. A number of far-right activists attending the trial clapped when one of the co-accused, Andre Eminger, received a lower sentence than expected. Z-Shape was arrested in 2011, shortly after her 2 accomplices were found dead in an apparent murder-suicide. Together with the men, Uwe Mundlos and Uwe Bonhardt, she had formed the National Socialist Underground, a group that pursued an ideology of white racial supremacy by targeting migrants, mostly of Turkish origin. Article continued below. Götzl said the trio agreed in late 1998 to kill people for anti-Semitic or other racist motivations, in order to intimidate ethnic minorities and portray the state as impotent. Read more. Opinion: Heather Malik, a Himmler dies happy as neo-Nazis bask in the public gaze. A former federal Green Party candidate faces trial in Germany for Holocaust denial. Videos: Georgia police use anti-mask law made for KKK to arrest counter-protesters at neo-Nazi rally. They plan to wait until they had committed a series of killings before revealing their responsibility, in order to increase the public impact of their crimes. Götzl said Z-Shape's contribution was essential for carrying out the robberies and attacks, which couldn't have happened without her. Article continued below. Known by its acronym NSU, the group evaded arrest for almost 14 years, thanks to a network of supporters and repeated mistakes by German security agencies. Anti-migrant sentiment that underpinned the group's ideology was particularly strong in eastern Germany during the early 1990s, when Mundlos, Bonhardt and Z-Shape were in their late teens and early 20s. The period saw a string of attacks against migrants and the rise of far-right parties. Anti-racism campaigners have drawn parallels between that period and the violence directed toward asylum seekers in Germany in recent years, which has seen the emergence of the far-right Alternative for Germany party. The case against Z-Shape hinged heavily on the question of whether judges would hold her equally as culpable for the killings as her 2 dead accomplices, even though there was no evidence she had been physically present during the attacks. Her lawyers sought to portray Z-Shape as a naive woman who played no active role in the killings, bomb attacks and bank robberies committed by Mundlos and Bonhardt. Z-Shape rarely spoke during the 5-year trial, refusing to answer questions from lawyers representing the victims' families. Toward the end, she expressed regret for the family's loss and described herself as morally guilty, but urged the court not to convict her for something that I neither wanted nor did. The NSU case has already become a firm part of German popular culture, serving as the basis for books, a Golden Globe-winning film and a Netflix series. Still, Barbara John, the government's ombudswoman for the victims' families, said many in Germany don't want to know the details of the case. That's true, too, for immigrants who want to protect themselves psychologically from the knowledge that they live in a country which couldn't protect them, she told the Associated Press. Speaking ahead of the verdict, John said the trial could help send a signal not just to far-right extremists but also to the country's security agencies, which for years failed to consider a possible far-right motive in the 10 killings and 2 bomb attacks that took place across the country. Instead, police focused on whether the victims had ties to organized crime, a line of investigation for which there was never any evidence. Germany's Interior Minister, Horst Seehofer, welcomed the verdict and said that the crimes should be a lesson and a task for us to fight far-right extremism in Germany with all means needed, preventively and repressively, in the future as well. Families of the victims said Tuesday that the suspicion directed toward their loved ones shook their faith in the German justice system. The investigation went in the wrong direction, not due to the failure of individuals but due to institutional racism, said Alexander Hoffman, a lawyer representing victims of a 2004 bomb attack in Cologne. He urged federal prosecutors to continue investigating the NSU's wider network of supporters, believed to be much broader than the 4 men on trial with Z-Shape. John, the ombudswoman, said there are encouraging signs that police and intelligence agencies are beginning to listen to minorities and make an effort to recruit them, ending the long-maintained illusion that Germany isn't a country of immigrants. One big question remains, do we in Germany really want to know why and how the NSU murders occurred, she said. If that were the case, the work of politicians and civil society needs to continue.